welcome. My name is Kate Griffiths from Whole Self Leadership, and I'm coming on today because I want to talk to you a little bit about a topic which I think you'll be aware of, and that's the fear of not having enough, because that is what the essence of chapter 9 of our book in Conscious Conversations Book Club is all about. The whole book is about how not to be afraid, and in it Gareth tackles some of the main fears as he sees them. So let me start by asking you, have you ever had a time when you felt that you didn't have enough money or that you felt you weren't enough? I think if you're honest with yourself, you probably have, and probably more than once. It's a very common fear. I want to share with you a little story which is quite funny. It kind of brings this to light a bit. In December, I went all the way up to Birmingham from where I live in Bedford to go all the way down to Bath. So I did sort of like two sides of a triangle to pick up a dear friend of mine so that we could go to a workshop together, because he'd had COVID and wasn't 100% fit and full of energy. And when I got to his, we had a bit of time with his family, and then we left and we were driving down the lane. He lives in a lovely barn in the middle of nowhere. I was like, oh, I've forgotten my handbag. So we went back and he went in. He said, what colour is it? I said, red and blue. Anyway, he couldn't find it anywhere. And so I went in and had a look, and his wife then said, I don't remember you having the handbag. And I said, well, we can't find it, so we'll have to go without it. But I had this little fear because in it was my wallet, and I'd got out the money for the workshop because they'd asked to get it in cash. Anyway, we got to mine, we had to my parents' house, and we had a lovely evening. And then the next day, my friend asked me if he could have a look in my car. I said, yeah, sure. I said, is everything okay? He said, I can't find my wallet. And he'd taken the room he'd been sleeping in apart, hadn't found it there. He looked in his seat in the car, under the car, in the boot, couldn't find it. I said, well, I bet it's at home. He said, well, it could be, but I can't ring my wife because she won't be available right now. And he was like, well, we can't really go to the workshop, can we? And I said, well, why not? And he said, well, because we can't pay for it. And I said, oh, well, we've got our phones. We can pay for it by phone. And if not, we can, I know them. We can do an IOU and transfer the money later. So it's a real sort of energy thing, because we both had exactly the same thing, and it turned out that I'd left my handbag at home and he'd left his wallet in a different shirt. And when we got there, they were fine about the fact that we didn't have our wallets, and we worked out a way to pay for our lunch and sorted out what we owed for the workshop, and everything was fine. And on a level, you could say we did a little bit of healing in the collective around scarcity, which is really what the fear of not having enough is all about. So that's a kind of interesting story, and all's well that ends well. But what is the answer to scarcity? Well, let me show you the answer in colour and see what you think. I've got 2 bottles here for you to have a look at, and just look at them and decide which one you're most attracted to. They're actually both pink, but one, as you can see, is a lot paler than the other and has a pearlescent top. You'll find that you are more drawn to one than the other. Let's just talk about pink in general. Pink is the colour of love and abundance, because obviously when we feel love, anything is possible, isn't it? So that's part of the answer. But there's more to it, because if we say, I'm in the pink, or someone's in the pink, then there's something very abundant about that, and they're in the money almost. So why wouldn't you feel that way? Well, we would say in colour terms, often it's people that are real givers, and they give a lot to other people, but actually they find it hard to receive for themselves. And giving and receiving are 2 sides of the same coin. And so for the flow of energy, we need to be able to be okay with both giving and receiving. And in that way, we will find abundance. So that's part of the answer. So if we explore that further, let me ask you a question. When did you last give yourself the gift of time? Give yourself an hour when you didn't need to do anything, be anywhere. Maybe to connect into the divine, to be in meditation, be in silence, being there for yourself. If you haven't done that in a long time, and if it sounds a bit weird, I challenge you to give it a go and see what happens. And after maybe half an hour, notice how you feel. And I expect you'll feel a shift in your vibration for the better, so feeling more joy, more love, more of those kinds of feelings. And just notice who comes into your conscious thought, and perhaps reach out to that person by writing them a letter. Yes, on writing paper, a couple of sides, just sharing how you feel about them, or connecting in whatever way makes sense. Because another part of feeling that you have enough is through being in community. It's why I set up my Conscious Conversations community, to bring like-hearted souls together so that we can meditate together, but also be in each other's company and grow and evolve in that way. So that's one thing, but it's also about authenticity, being yourself and seeing what resonates for you, and not just going along with something because it's easier with other people, because your truth is yours and yours alone. And I suppose the real key here is generosity, because the more we are in that space of generosity, it's almost like the love boomerang. It comes back to us, but often in unexpected ways. So I invite you to try some of these ideas and thoughts, techniques on for size. And if you do, let me know how you get on, because I'd love to know. And I hope you enjoyed watching, and the next video will be here next week. So have a good rest of your week, whatever you're doing. Bye for now.